Hello my YouTube friends. If you've been watching me for a while, then you know that I try to find ways to do things on a shoestring budget. And I show you how to do it. I'm a cheap dude, what can I say? With that being said, there does come a time when your channel will be making a bit of cash. Maybe from super chats or ad revenue. And once it does, you're gonna wanna spend it on making your streams better and your life a lot easier. I mean, doing things on the cheap works when you have to do it. But the trade-off is all the workarounds and the complexity that it creates. And once your channel's making a little bit of cash, why torture yourself with all that once you don't have to anymore? So in this video, I'm gonna talk about the 10 things that I wouldn't stream without once you have a small channel budget. So let's get to it. If you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks that can help make you a better YouTuber, subscribe to the channel and click that bell so you don't miss any new content. Now this is not a money is no object video. Like I said, I'm pretty cheap. All this equipment is still budget stuff. I mean, I use it, and I'm a pretty cheap dude, but it's impossible to describe how much easier life can be when you stop trying to use workarounds and just spend a bit of cash to get the right software or equipment. So I'm gonna start with stuff you should invest in first, and as we go down the list, we're gonna move into more nice to have stuff when you have a good budget. Number one on this list is great sound, and it should be your first priority, especially for live streaming. A lot of people listen to a live stream like a podcast. This should be where your funds go first. Personally, I like to use a shotgun mic because I don't want the microphone in the shot. My personal favorite is the Sennheiser MKE600, but it's not budget and it's also an XLR mic, which a lot of folks may not be able to use. The most popular mic out there is the Blue Yeti. It's a USB condenser mic and there are a lot of live streamers that use one. And they're not too expensive and give you really good quality results. The links for both of these microphones are in the description if you want to check them out for yourself. Lighting is the next thing on the list, and you can make a bad camera look pretty good with the right lighting, and it doesn't have to be expensive. In fact, I use this budget set of Viltrox VL200 lights. They come in a set of 3 with AC adapters and stands for each one. It even has a cool remote control unit. You can use this to change each light independently to get the exact look you want. And the best part is this entire set can be had for around 200 bucks, maybe even less depending upon what time of year. And of course there's links in the description. Now the next investment that you want to make might seem like it's a little bit out of the box, but live streaming is so much easier when you have a second monitor, and this should be a priority even if you use a laptop to stream, because you can hook up a second monitor and it's a lifesaver. It allows you to use your encoder like OBS, and your broadcast can be open in the other window, or a tutorial, or a game screen, or anything like that. It's practically a must if you're adding guests to your stream. Do yourself a favor and treat yourself to a second monitor. It doesn't have to be expensive, but as soon as you can, you really want to get one, and there are links in the description to a couple of budget ones. Like I said, you don't have to break the bank. It doesn't really even have to be good, but it will change the way that you live stream, and it makes it so much easier. This next expense is something I never thought I would actually use. I used to spend hours and hours and hours creating overlays and bumper videos and branding videos and everything else. And then I found Placeit. Placeit makes it so friggin' easy to get a hold of the assets that I use for my live stream, like overlays and bumpers, like a countdown video or a branding video that would play right after the countdown video, or a video that I play in between when I'm setting up my guests on another screen. And all these videos are already done for you. You can add your own logos and everything else. I mean, Placeit has removed so much work for me, and I have amazing professional looking overlays that I can animate and do all kinds of cool stuff with, and it doesn't hardly cost me anything to get. Sometimes spending a little bit of money, especially when you have it in the budget, makes a lot more sense than spending hours and hours and hours and hours figuring out how to do it yourself or learning what looks good on your streams. Believe me, my time has more value than spending hours creating channel art. And the second that I didn't have to do it anymore, well, I didn't. I use Placeit, and it's amazing. And it frees up all kinds of time to do other things, like create more videos, which is awesome. Now, a lot of people found my channel because I do cheap, free, and easy videos about how to add guests to your live stream. And all of these things work, but man, are they a pain in the butt. So the second that I actually had a budget, I started using StreamYard to add my guests. Now, I still use OBS, and I just capture my StreamYard screen when I add my guests, and I capture the audio. And this makes it so much friggin' easier to add a guest to my live stream that I don't even have to worry about it. On my live stream, I go to a bumper that says I'm adding a guest. And of course, I created that bumper and Placeit. And then I just pop over on my second monitor to StreamYard. I invite my guests, they come in, then switch to the scene that already has the StreamYard screen capture, and I'm ready to go. That's it. There's no fiddling, there's no audio problems, there's no layout problems. I don't have to worry about adding names. I don't have to worry about creating overlays. I know it's gonna look good, and I'm gonna get consistent results every time. And consistent results over all that other headache, I can't tell you how much that's worth. It's definitely worth the couple of bucks a month I pay for the service. Believe me. Now we're getting into more of the nice to have, but a lot of people make comments about the imaging that I get on my live stream. And that's because I'm using a DSLR camera, in my case, a Sony a6500. But you don't have to spend a lot of money to get this look in your imaging. But if you want your camera to look like this, with all this depth of field instead of like this one here, which is just a regular webcam. Now, when you have a regular webcam, you notice that everything is in focus, including the background. There's really nothing that I can do to create that depth of field or blur out the background. And we also have a wider frame of view. And really the only thing that I can do to fix that is to bring the camera closer or move it farther away. Well, it doesn't really work. With a DSLR camera, I can add all of the depth of field just like you see here, but I don't really have to work too hard to get it. In fact, most of the work that was created to get this is all in the lighting. Everything else is really simple. So invest in a good DSLR camera if the visual imaging is something that's important to you, and you're going to be able to create amazing things like the background that I use really easily. There are links in the description to the DSLR camera that I use, but to be honest with you, any camera that you can add a second lens to and create this depth of field is going to be just fine. And there are all kinds of brands that will do it for you. Once you decide that you're going to move into the realm of the DSLR camera for your live stream, you're also going to want to get a capture card. Now, this particular one is an Elgato cap card, and it's about $129 when we're not dealing with a pandemic. So if that's what you want to pay for it, you're going to want to just wait or look around for it. But you're going to want to have one of these things in order to hook up your DSLR camera to your live stream. It just makes it easier. Now, sure, even the Sony camera that I use has ways that I can use it as a webcam, but I don't get anywhere near the color imaging and the correctness of the picture and the ease of use that I get with a simple $129 capture card. So why deal with all the hassle? Just get the capture card, make your life easy. You add this into your OBS exactly the same way that you would add a webcam. And you can even use the microphone off your DSLR. So in my case, it allows me to use an XLR mic that I have a lot more control over. And that's the beauty of having a capture card. Now, once you have a DSLR and a capture card and a microphone and all this other cool stuff, then maybe you want to find a way to make your background look really pretty. And I do that with a little bit of a setup, but I also use these really cool LED lights, and I have a remote control that can actually control the color of the light, so I can change it anytime I want. And it's pretty simple. And let me just show you what these are. Basically, it's just a glass mug with a string of LEDs inside of it. So all I have to do is plug it into a little USB charging unit like this one. My lights go on, and if I put it in the background, well, then I get a really cool shine. And of course, the glass jug does all the work. Now, I just happen to have these around, but any kind of cool glass will work. This just really has a lot of reflective qualities that make it look really cool. But the LEDs are super cheap for these LED strings, and you can use any kind of USB plug to plug them in, and any kind of glass. And you know, to be honest with you, you really don't have to have the LEDs in a glass. They would look pretty cool without it, but I like the glass, so I put them in there. So get yourself a set of cheap LEDs that have a little remote, and you're in business. The next thing that makes my life so much easier is an actual desk mounting system. So I picked up a desk that I can adjust up and down, and then I picked up an entire system of arms that mount everything. My microphone is mounted right here. My overhead light is mounted right up here. I have a monitor here, I have a monitor here, I have a monitor here. And all of those are mounted to the desk. So when I raise the desk or lower it, they all go with it. And by the way, the camera is also mounted on an arm on the desk. It's really cool. Now you can pick up this entire system for pretty cheap. I think the entire arm system might have cost me around 150 bucks or so. In fact, for the table and the entire mounting setup, I think I might have paid $300. Something like that. There's gonna be links in the description to all this equipment if you wanna check it out, but it's totally a game changer because I have access to everything that I need. I can see my OBS over here, I can see the stream over here, I can see the chat up here. My microphone is mounted up here, out of the way. I always know that I'm getting good sound. My lighting always gives me this little hair light that backdrops me so that I stand out from my background. And in conjunction with the other lights that I use, well, I always know it's going to be consistent, and that's because it's always mounted on the desk the exact same way. I don't have to play around. I come into my studio, I turn everything on, I hit record or I hit go live, and it all just works exactly the way it's supposed to. It's absolutely a game changer. Now the last piece of equipment that I really can't live without is my Loop Deck Live. Now I did a video on this thing, and if you're not aware of what it does, you should check that video out. But I control my entire extremely complex stream with just these buttons right here. It has all of the different scene collections I can set up on the bottom. Well, honestly, you can configure this any way you like. And if you check this video out right here, I show you exactly how to do it. And if you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks that can help make you a better YouTuber, subscribe to the channel. My name is Michael Fire Jr. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.